A lot of the advice you've heard about how smart people are supposed to act is completely wrong. Many traits that look messy or embarrassing from the outside are actually misunderstood signals of deeper intelligence. Your mind is running a different kind of analysis, even when you don't realize it. And once you see the truth behind this, you may rethink how you see yourself. Tap like and subscribe, and let's begin. Number 1. Silly humor or childlike playfulness. Have you ever wondered why your mind lights up at the smallest joke or odd connection that no one else seems to notice? What looks like simple humor is often your brain recognizing patterns faster than you can explain them. You spot tiny shifts in meaning, link ideas that don't normally belong together, and flip them into something playful before most people even realize there was a connection. This kind of humor comes from cognitive flexibility, the ability to move between ideas without getting stuck in one lane. It's the same mental process that fuels creativity, problem-solving, and innovative thinking. That childlike spark you carry isn't immaturity, it's the part of you that stays curious enough to explore possibilities instead of shutting them down. You let your mind wander and experiment, even in moments where others feel the need to stay serious or contained. And when you see your own reactions through that lens, it becomes clear that this playfulness is just one doorway into how your mind works beneath the surface, hinting at deeper patterns that show up in other unexpected ways. Number 2. Switching topics mid-conversation. Why does your mind suddenly jump from one idea to another even when you're trying to stay on track? What feels like drifting to others is often your brain moving through associative paths that connect thoughts in ways most people don't notice. You're not losing focus. You're following an internal logic that links memories, patterns, and insights at a speed that can be hard to keep up with on the outside. Your thoughts travel in curves instead of straight lines, weaving together ideas that seem unrelated until you realize they form a bigger picture. This nonlinear flow is the same mechanism behind creative breakthroughs, the kind that come from seeing hidden relationships rather than following a strict script. You may have moments where someone looks confused, or you catch yourself apologizing for going off track. But your mind is simply working with a richer map of connections. And if you look closely, this pattern shows up in more than conversation. It shows up in the quiet moments when your thoughts wander even further than your words ever do. Number 3. Daydreaming at the worst times. Psychology says your wandering mind in the middle of important moments isn't a failure of focus at all. When you drift off during a meeting or lose the thread of a conversation, your brain is slipping into its default mode network, the system it uses for reflection, imagination, and long-term planning. You're not zoning out, you're processing information in the background, sorting through experiences, memories, and unfinished thoughts in a way that feels effortless. This is the mental space where creative insights form, where solutions appear out of nowhere, and where your mind rehearses possible futures before you ever act on them. People around you might think you're distracted, but inside, something deeper is happening. Your brain is working on problems you haven't yet put into words. You sometimes return to the moment feeling like you missed something, yet a new clarity or idea appears later without warning, as if your mind finished the work on its own. And noticing this inner rhythm can make you wonder what other quiet processes are shaping the ways you think and act, even when you're not trying. Number 4. Rejecting group consensus. You've probably been told that going along with the group is the mature or cooperative thing to do, but psychology suggests the opposite might be true for you. When everyone agrees on something, and you still feel that quiet tug of doubt, your mind isn't being difficult. It's evaluating information independently instead of absorbing the majority's view. While most people instinctively conform to avoid discomfort, your brain pauses, analyzes, and checks whether the conclusion actually makes sense. That resistance isn't rebellion, it's clarity, the ability to hold your own reasoning steady even when the social pressure around you intensifies. You may notice that your voice changes the room more than you expect, not because you're louder, but because independent thinking carries a different weight. People might misunderstand your hesitation or disagreement, yet internally, you're simply trying to stay aligned with what feels true rather than what feels easy. And if you sit with that feeling, you might sense that this instinct shows up in other parts of your life, revealing a pattern that runs deeper than a single moment of disagreement. Number 5. Often saying, "I don't know." Have you ever noticed how those 3 words slip out of your mouth even when everyone else seems so confident? Saying, "I don't know," isn't a gap in intelligence. It's a sign that your mind is tuned to accuracy rather than appearances. While others rush to fill silence with certainty, You can sense the difference between what you truly understand and what would just be guesswork. That kind of honesty requires intellectual humility, the quiet awareness that knowledge has limits and that complexity is bigger than any quick answer. Instead of pretending, you pause, reflect, and leave space for real learning to happen. This isn't weakness. It's a strength that many people never develop because they're too focused on seeming sure. Your mind recognizes that admitting uncertainty is often the first step toward real clarity, not the last. And once you start noticing that instinct in yourself, you might see that this willingness to question your own understanding is connected to a broader pattern in how you approach ideas and beliefs. Number 6, changing opinions frequently. Psychology says, changing your mind is one of the strongest signs that your thinking is actually working. While many people cling to their beliefs out of habit or pride, you update yours the moment new information shifts the landscape. You're not flip-flopping. You're running an internal system that tests ideas, revises assumptions, and adjusts course when reality changes. This is the essence of flexible reasoning, a kind of mental agility that keeps you from getting stuck in outdated conclusions. Your brain isn't loyal to the past. It's loyal to the truth as you currently understand it. People around you may misunderstand this, assuming consistency means strength, but you feel the discomfort of holding a belief that no longer fits. You move forward instead of defending old versions of yourself, even when it makes you stand out. And when you look closely at this pattern, you may sense that the clarity you gain from shifting your perspective also shapes the way you communicate with others. Number 7, using simple language. Why is it that you can explain something in a few clear sentences while others hide behind complicated words? Speaking simply isn't a lack of knowledge. It's often the clearest sign that you understand the idea at its core. Your mind strips away the noise, the jargon, the unnecessary layers, and gets straight to the part that actually matters. Instead of trying to impress people with complexity, you focus on communication that actually lands, because you've already done the hard work of sorting through the details internally. This kind of clarity only comes from deep comprehension, the kind that lets you translate difficult concepts into something anyone can grasp. People may accuse you of oversimplifying, but you're doing what most can't, revealing the heart of an idea without drowning it in confusion. You make information accessible, memorable, and grounded, even when the topic is dense. And when you pay attention to this ability, you may notice it affects more than your words. It shapes how you navigate interactions that feel less straightforward. Number 8, social awkwardness. You walk into a room, rehearse a simple greeting, and somehow the words still come out tangled. Why does such a small moment feel so heavy? What looks like awkwardness from the outside is often your mind processing far more information than the situation actually requires. You're not just hearing someone's words, you're noticing tone shifts, subtle expressions, hidden meanings, and the emotional temperature of the room all at once. That level of awareness can overload your system, making simple interactions feel strangely complex. You're not just hearing someone's words, you're noticing tone shifts, subtle expressions, hidden meanings, and the emotional temperature of the room all at once. Your brain reaches for depth even in places where depth isn't expected. And that mismatch can create moments that feel clumsy or out of sync. Others might breeze through small talk because they're not thinking as much, but you're busy tracking layers, they never even register. And when you understand that your discomfort comes from processing more, not less, it becomes easier to see that this sensitivity isn't a flaw, it's part of how your mind navigates the world beneath the surface. All these traits you carry aren't signs that you're out of place. They're signs that your mind works in ways most people never take the time to understand. When you look back at your life through that lens, the moments that once felt confusing suddenly feel like pieces of a larger pattern. There's a quiet strength in realizing you were never broken, just wired for a deeper kind of thinking. If this resonated with you, feel free to like and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. And if you're ready to see how even more overlooked habits can reveal surprising intelligence, the next video on these 9 weird traits might mean you're way smarter than you think is waiting for you.